So if you're here checking out this video, you already know that today's overview and review video is on Creature Comforts. So if you want to know everything there is about this game, stick around.
Video. Why can't I get that? No. I'm gonna redo that.
So two things first, I want to say a huge thank you to KTBG for sending me this review copy because I have been dying to try it. Second of all, my name is Krissy and this is my channel, Two Sheep, One Wheat. If there's a board game out there that you would love for me to review, let me know what that is down in the comments below. Like this video, and of course go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss it. This game is adorable, so let's go ahead and take a look at the components. So we have a few things going on here, so let's just take a look at the cards that are already on the board. So first of all, we have our cute little traveler cards here. Now the location that this is in is called the Inn. At the beginning of every turn, there's going to be a new traveler card that is revealed with some bonuses. I'll get into some of these spots a little bit more in detail right after going over the components here. So other cards that are on the actual board are these cards right here. These are the valley cards. Now the valley cards go on to the valley locations, which this is with the forest and this is the meadow. At the beginning of each turn, they're going to be flipped over and we're going to get a whole bunch of new resources and locations to be able to go on to. Then we come all the way down to the Owl's Nest. These are comfort cards. This is kind of what's going to be making our creatures comfortable while they hibernate throughout the winter. Then we go to the left side of the board, and these are improvement cards. That's located at the workshop right here. This is kind of to improve your house, to make sure that it looks good. And as long as you have the resources, you can pay for them and build them. We also have some improvement tokens here that do go with some of these cards. Two other things on the board. We have the river dial. At the beginning of each turn, you're going to be rotating it one way to kind of shuffle up what die you need to pick up whichever resources you'd like. Then we go to the hilltop up here. This is just this tile right here. That's where your village dice are going to be placed for everybody to take their turns and be able to use these dice to go on certain spots on the board here. Now, most of these locations, you're either gathering resources or spending resources. The resources in this game are these right here. We have fruits, we have wood, stone, yarn, and grain, and mushrooms. Then tokens in this game are stories, coins, and lessons learned. Then we move on to our board area right here. So each player is going to get their own family board. You get your workers that match what's on the board. You get your family dice, which you'll also be using, along with the villager dice over here. And of course, we have cottages that we get to build. So for the most part, this game is a worker placement game. However, this one is a little bit different. All players can go on any spots, no matter how many players are playing, so you don't have to worry about somebody taking your spot and you not being able to get any of those resources that you need. However, this one is a little bit different because you also need to be able to pay for those spots using the villager dice and your family dice. So let's go ahead and take a look at how you can place your workers on any of these spots on the board. At the beginning of your very first turn, you're going to be dealt 3 different cards. You can choose any 2 that you want and you discard the 3rd card. Then you'll be able to start the round. So the valley cards are the only thing that really needs to be set up at the beginning of this game. You want to have spring, summer, and fall. There are 3 cards for spring, 3 cards for summer, and 2 cards for fall. So you want to make sure that you have the forest cards and the meadow cards, and you'll be able to tell because of what is on these cards. They match up with the images that are on this board. Then you want to flip over your traveler card at the inn. You want to read the little bit of text that is at the bottom here because sometimes it'll be an immediate effect, sometimes it'll be an effect that takes place throughout the month that you're playing, and other times it'll be at the end of the month. So that gets flipped over and then everybody gets to roll their family dice and they place whatever numbers that they have on their board like so. And then all players start to place out their workers at the same time as well. Like I was saying, it doesn't matter how many players are in the spot, you're still going to be able to do it. It all depends on what number are on all of those dice if you're going to be able to actually pay for the said location that you are on. Now I've already explained the locations on the board, so let's just go ahead and pick some of the easier ones that will give us some resources. We'll go there, we will go here, and let's go ahead and say if we gain any of these, then we want to go ahead and exchange some of them because this right here is the market. I think this is the only one that I didn't explain. So when you go here, you can take any 2 of the same resources or goods in this game and exchange it for one other one. And then for our last location, let's say we want to go ahead and take a card that is face up here from the owl's nest. Now, we don't actually know if we're going to be able to go into any of these spots right here until we roll the village dice. So you would roll the village dice, and whatever you get is for all players. The first player would go ahead and take their family dice and add it to the pool. Now, this location up here in the woods needs 2 dice that is 5 or lower. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the 3 and the 2 for this one right here. And then this one needs a 2, so I'll use one of my family dice for that. And now there are 2 locations on the board here that I did choose. It doesn't matter. Any type of die will do for here. It does not matter. So we can go ahead and we'll stick this one here with with this worker, and then we'll place this one here with that worker. Now I did complete this, so I would get 2 wood and 2 mushroom. I also completed this one, so I would get a book. Books at the end of the game are worth 2 points. Coins are worth 1 point for the end of the game. Any resources that you have left that are unused, any 3 are worth 1 point at the end of the game too. So having leftover resources in this game is not a bad thing. So these would be the resources that I would end up with. They all just go onto your board like that. Now let's say we've gone a couple of months in, we have a bunch of resources, we want to go to the workshop here and start improving our land. There's a couple different cards here, one being just a simple victory point. You would need to pay, for this one here, you would need to pay 1 wood, 2 rocks, but this one says when visiting the market, you may first make 1 trade of 1 for 1. Then the usual rates would apply. So having this one would allow you to take that benefit. Now there are some like this that actually add this extra location here. So anytime that you would take a card from here that has a glade spot here, it gets to be placed up here, and it's a spot for any other players to take this benefit. Now anytime that you are collecting any of these improvement cards here, you're going to be taking off one of your cottages off, and you want to start from the bottom up, because the more that you go up, the higher the victory points are. So every time that you purchase one of these improvement cards, you want to stick your cottages on it to make sure that everybody knows that they are yours, and so that you are able to score your victory points at the end. So those are 2 different ones here. Like I was saying at the beginning, there are a few cards in here that will allow you to take these improvement tokens up here, but for the most part, they are pretty simple with the benefit written down at the bottom. Now, if they do not have any of these ones with glades on top, these improvement cards would actually just go right by your family board. Now, once you've recalled all of your workers, now it's time that you can play one of these comfort cards. If you have enough resources to play any of these, you would just place it down right in front of you, paying the resources that you would need to pay for it, which are these ones right here. And these ones are points at the end as well. So however many cards that you can purchase by using all of the goods or coins that you need to pay, then the better, because you'll have the most points and then maybe win the game. And every time that you complete one of the actions, you would take your worker off and take it off like that, just so that you can keep track that they are completed. Then we can go over here, we can trade in any 2 of the same resources, because that's really all we have. We could trade in 3 of any kind for a coin, but we don't really need a coin right now. Let's go ahead and trade these 2 mushrooms for an apple. So we'll get the apple, it just again goes right here. So that was the market that we just completed. And now this one down here over at the owl's nest. This one, I can choose any card face up, and I can add that to my hand. If I were to go into this location, whatever die that I was placing here would matter. If it was a 1 or 2, I would be able to draw 2 cards from the deck. Or if I had a 3 to 6, I would only be able to draw 1 card from the deck. Let's say we had a worker somewhere that we couldn't complete, or we didn't want to. In that case, you would not complete the locations benefit. Instead, you would just return your worker to your board. You'd collect what is a lesson learned token. Now, lesson learns are basically, I couldn't do what I wanted to do because maybe I didn't get the die that I needed, the dice perhaps if I had to, or even if I just couldn't. So the lessons learned, what they do is they either add a number to the die or they subtract a number from the die. Whatever it is, you want to use these because you can't alter the face on a die since all players are going to be using it. But there is an improvement card that will allow you to alter one die, but it would stay like that until the end of the month. So that is a lesson learned token. They as well would just go on your board until you would use them. And when you use them, they go into the discard. Now for the other spots on the board that we didn't really talk about, the other two spots up in the meadow here are the exact same as the two that I already did. You go over here to the river here, and whatever number that you have that you can do, 5 will get you 2 rocks, 3 will get you a coin and a rock, a 6, 1, or 2 will get you a rock here too. Or if you went over here and you visited one of the travelers over here, you can use their benefit that is here as well. So if you have any mushrooms, you can trade any number of mushroom. This one with the question mark depends on what number die you're placing here. So if I placed a 5 here, I could trade in 5 mushrooms for 5 coins if I wanted to. If you placed a 4 there, you could do it 4 times. So there's cards like that in here, but then there are also different ones where they are more specific. So if you have a 1 or 2 number die here, you can trade in a wheat for 2 yarn, and you're able to do that 2 times. This one, 1 yarn, you can do that at least 2 times, up to 2 times for 2 mushrooms, and then this one, up to 2 times for 1 mushroom for 2 wheat. So there's that one. This one right here, the Canada Lynx, you can trade in 2 resources, not the same, up to 4 times for a coin. And here you would get a story. So there are many different travelers that come in and out throughout the months, and they are all different benefits. A lot of the times they are really nice to take advantage of because it's a different trading than what you can do at the market here. Now, once your turn is all done, you've recalled all of your workers, then it is the next player's turn. So you want to replace all of the dice and bring them back here to the hilltop, and you want to take your family dice back to your family board. So once all of the players have gone, you'll need to do an upkeep phase. An upkeep phase is taking the leftmost card from the owl's nest, shuffling these over, and flipping over a new one. You also want to be taking off the bottommost improvement card, shuffling all these down, and revealing a new one. Then we want to take off the traveler's card and reveal a new one. We also want to take off the meadow cards here to reveal the same or different season, but with all new locations and resources. And then the first player token gets rotated clockwise to the next player. So the end of the game is triggered once you've gone through all of the months leading up to winter. Once all of the cards have been removed and winter is now on display, that is the end of the game, and everybody needs to count up their points to see who won. So now winter has set in, it is the end of the game, and it comes time to scoring your points. This board is actually double-sided with a track. And it has a nice little spot as well so that you can replace all of your cottages that you have not been able to put out. So counting points for your board, you would count any points that you have on any of the cards that you've been able to pay and place in front of you. So in this case, it would be 7 points. Let's just use that right there. So any cards that you have, you score up those points. Now, a lot of the cards have these bonuses down at the bottom as well. So this one is +2 points if you also have bread. There's a lot of pairing within these cards. So if you have a pantry, you can actually store some of the food that are on there, and that would be extra points for the end of the game too. If you store exactly 2 books here, you get an extra +7 points. So there's a lot of pairing with these cards, and you want to make sure that you're paying attention to them so that you can really double up on any of those extra points that you're going to need, because again, the points are what's going to help you win the game. Then we have this improvement card right here. We have 1 point for that. We only have 3, let's just say that was still an 8. We still have 3 resources, so that would be 1 extra point. We don't have any books or money. This was a very bad game. This is obviously just an example of what a game can look like and what you need to score on. Plus, we would be able to score 1 point for the cottage that we have right here. So this whole game, for the little mini example that I showed you, it would be 10 points for this game. Now, there is a spot right here that you're able to place something else to mark it so that if you do pass the 50 mark, you will remember and be able to keep scoring. I think we can all agree that this game is really cute with all of the different creatures and the artwork for this game. It's definitely a nice entry-level game for worker placement, I think, especially because Anybody can go on the exact same location that you are in. You don't have to miss out on anything if you're not able to get there. I know that sometimes whenever you're the first player in worker placements games, you definitely have the best spot. You have the first pick to the best spot. But luckily with this game, that actually doesn't happen with that. And I think that that might be one of my issues with worker placements, is that I always feel like I'm kind of missing out. So I feel like that is not going on in this game. The only time that you're missing out is if you have bad rolls. But they also gave you lesson learned tokens, so you can alter the die kind of like that. And there's actually no limit to how many that you can actually use on a single die. But obviously my guess would be 5. So, and I think because anybody can go on any locations on this board, I think that this is probably more along the lines of a introduction to worker placement. It's a little bit more on the lighter side. I know that the company is geared a little bit more towards kids, but I really did enjoy playing this game too. So not just for kids, but if you're playing with kids, you're also going to enjoy it, which is a double whammy for me because we do have kids, as most of you know. So me and the kids did enjoy playing this game, and there is a little bit of reading to this. So my children are young. There is a little bit of reading to this, but not too much that I can tell them what it says, and it's just usually a benefit so that they can remember what they're doing, especially my oldest, who is 5. He's almost 6, so he can still remember what the cards actually do. So the reading isn't that much. Plus, the game is very Canadian because it is a Canadian company, so there's little bits, more like surprises. There's surprises throughout this whole game, especially because there's the Canadian links. There's a lot of Canadian things, and the money is a penny with a maple leaf on it, which is just super cute, very nostalgic because we don't have it anymore. And how cute that hibernation is coming, and that is kind of what ends the game because winter has come. And throughout this whole game, you're trying to make your creature comfortable to hibernate. And I think that that just kind of makes the game, to me, it makes it, you're doing something for a reason with the game. You are trying to, especially with the bonus on the cards too, whenever you're trying to match them up, I think that is pretty clever. Whenever you have a bowl of soup, if you have a piece of bread, then it'll give you more points. And I think my favorite thing in this whole game, is that there are actually comfort cards that are board games. This company is a board game company, and they put board games in their board game. That's cute, right? That's cute. So I like the game, love the game, super cute game, but I love the fact that there are cards in here with board games. And they're board games that we've already played. I won't ruin it for you what board games are on these cards, but I'm sure that if you're a board gamer, you will know exactly what game are on these cards. So I had to mention that because I thought that was super, super cute. And I just wanted to show, obviously, because the whole board is beautiful. I have played this game too in a playthrough, a live playthrough. So if you missed out on that, I will link that up here for you and also down in the descriptions so that you can check that out if you're looking to see how gameplay is. That is for 2 players that I did get that playthrough on. But I wanted to take a look at a little bit more on the cards because of how awesome the artwork is on here. So the box cover, I will get it right now, showcases exactly what art style, what kind of theme is actually what this game is about. So everything, even on the rule book, everything shows everything. There's lots of pictures and everything. So I actually read through the rule book too, which is not something that I normally do. And I had no problem going through this rule book and figuring out how to play the game. Everything is written out very well, and it flows really nicely so that you can kind of keep up with the game if you wanted to start playing the game and learn as you go. It is very well written like that. So I wanted to touch base on the rule book too, and I wanted to show obviously all of the pretty board, these cards right here, all of the visitors, everything, the meadow cards up here. Everything is beautiful. Everything makes it pop. I thought maybe that the board was going to be a little bit too busy. Not that there's a lot going on, but there are a bunch of different spots on the boards, but it works out really well, especially whenever you have your workers on here, you have your dice. You can definitely tell where you are, and it's not busy at all. So let's get to the cards because that's what I've been waiting for. The cute backs on here is a fireplace because if that's not cozy, I don't know what is. So pie. How cute. And then toboggan. A toboggan, I don't know if that's a Canadian thing. I would say that this is a Canadian thing. Going sledding in the winter. Very cute. The piggy bank for our pennies. Very cute. The preservers. Canning things. Toboggan again. And here the bread. So if you have the soup or the soup, I guess is how it would go. You got toys, mandolin, and of course we have the snowshoes. Adorable. Pantry, preserves again. The quilt, because when you're sitting next to the fire, you're going to need a blanket. And I'm not sure what muffler, where in Canada people call scarves muffler. I would love to know because I think that is adorable. And we have socks, fairy garden, which is just really cute too. The flute, which goes with the mandolin, so any of the instruments go together so that you can get +2 points for that. There's some repeats in here, but of course, obviously, you're going to want to because to be able to get some of those points all together, right? So rocking chair goes with the quilt because, again, sitting next to that fireplace, you want to be cozy and rocking. Fairy garden again, we have candles, and here is a much better looking fire, but I guess that is the card that is on the back here. I found it. That is adorable. Ice skates, and then pot of tea, of course, warm you up after you've been outside for so long. And then here's a board game. Socks, the muffler again. Here's a big giant stew, which is looks really good. It obviously uses the mushrooms, uses 4 of the mushrooms for the resources. I can see why, because it looks like it is a mushroom stew. So a lot of cute artwork, a lot of cute cards. The artwork is fantastic. I really, really like it. Really like it. It's really cute. I really enjoyed this playing at 2 players. I have not played any of the other player counts, so I can't touch on that, but I will say that it is a great 2-player game. We didn't find anything wrong with it or anything that needed to be added to it. We found that the scores for 2 players were pretty similar. So the games that we played were really, really close, which is really nice whenever that happens. It's not like one person is taking off and has a lead by like 20 points with the game. So found that the scoring for this game was really similar, really close. So we really enjoyed that. And this game is solo as well. I did skim it, haven't played solo, not much of a solo player, but I do always mention whenever a game comes with solo rules. So with this one, just a couple of cards are being taken out. Most of the duplicate cards are being taken out. And you're still scoring the same way. It's just kind of a beating your last score type solo game. So that is the solo game for this one. So anyways, that was my overview and my review for Creature Comforts. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time.